It's quite honestly been me running into these ceilings and asking the question, well, how else?
We often don't see women who look like us doing what you're doing together, and something I know can be something you know, and something you know can be something someone else knows.
We deserve to live in the land of plenty.
Yes, abundance.
If we say we came to entrepreneurship for freedom, then we got to start naming what freedom looks like.
Welcome to the Black and Green Podcast. It's your go-to place to find the latest high-quality, all-natural products created by Black artisans. Hosted by yours truly, Dr. Kristian H., the founder of Black and Green. We'll discuss all things health, wellness, self-care, and of course, self-love. This podcast features a refreshing lineup of guests, from entrepreneurs and artisans to holistic lifestylists and clean beauty experts, and a plethora of other innovators within the wellness industry. Join me as we learn from the best of the best. Yes! Welcome. Please introduce yourself.
Thank you, sis. First off, yes, intro. I am here for all of the things. This is very intentional, and I'm honored to be an entrepreneur on the show. I am Casey Ariel. I am the founder of Blaze Group, and we are an AI-based startup that is engineering intelligence after Big Mama for AI business advisory for Black women entrepreneurs. And so we make sure that learning and the curation of lifestyle features that keep you in the game and connecting with your network feels like a warm hug without the rush. So thank you for having me on the show.
Yes. So I'm excited because this is my first podcast where I'm adding the element of video. And so I have historically been doing it just audio. And this is my first time doing it with video. And when I was thinking about who I wanted to interview first, your name came up first. Because every
Wow.
time we talk, our conversations are so magical. I was like, if I can record that,
Yeah.
I know it's going to be through the roof. So thank you
Man,
for
that's dope,
joining
sis.
me.
Thank you for having me in your house.
Yes. Well, welcome. And I love it's a piece of uniqueness about what you're creating that we often don't see women who look like us doing what you're doing.
Right.
So, how do you find your way there? How is it feeling? How are you finding community? Just talk me through the hows.
Yeah, thank you for that. Because you're right. Like, we don't, even as we aspire to these spaces, it is tough when you don't see a Black woman with natural hair keeping her Southern twang, but still saying, I'm disrupting in ways that not even white men are doing. Right. And so I'd say the first piece of the how for me was me starting off as a banker, structuring multi-billion-dollar loans for large tech companies. Right. So I got to do deals for tech companies that were having high school dropouts or people who didn't even go to, I mean, not high school dropouts, college dropouts, or people who didn't go to college at all have these cool ideas, and we would give them billions of dollars to test it, period. Right. And for all of them, the edge was their ability to scale. Right. It was how do we increase our customers without increasing our overhead expenses? Right. How do we increase our geographic reach without increasing the number of offices we have to buy? And so that was my first fascination into the world of tech, right? Just thinking about how we do more with less, because I was very reminiscent of what I saw my big mama do, what I saw my mama do. That's what we do, right? And then becoming an entrepreneur in 2020, I ran into the roadblocks of scale, the ceilings of scale, right? So it was, okay, I can do one-on-one coaching, but it's 24 hours in a day. Okay, let me do group coaching. But after a certain number of seats, the intimacy leaves, right? And then, okay, I can do summits, right? I could have, shout out to the Webbies for nominating us in 2024 for our Blaze Summit. We're so happy about that. But I can do summits, right? But after that high on that 5-day experience, and people have to go inside of their regular experiences for 51 weeks out of the year, then what? But we can't do a summit 52 weeks out of the year. And so it's quite honestly been me running into these ceilings and asking the question, well, how else, right? Like what else? And disrupting myself, disrupting
Mhm,
Blaze. And
mhm.
so we've landed in um, a solution where this is the Blaze Virtual Summit experience 24/7, 365. And we're using AI. We call her B. That's our business advisor's name. Engineering her with Big Mama's intelligence, because you no longer need Casey on the stage giving you feedback, right? No longer need to wait for office hours for somebody to show up on the other end. Like, women are having 3 a.m. conversations, Dr. Kristian, saying, like, I'm feeling depression from business rejection. And B is able to say, hold up, sis, like, reframe it now. Like, how else do you learn without XYZ, right? What therapists can you find on Black girls, therapy for Black girls, and giving out that URL? And don't forget about the community. Go over to the
Yes,
community,
yes,
right? And so it was just me being fascinated with this thought around infinite scale with
yes.
very, very little input.
Yes, I love that. I love that. Let me just say, I love my therapist I found from Black Girl Doctor. Okay. So
Ashe.
I was looking for a therapist and I was very intent on trying to find a Black woman. And
Yep,
Black Girl Doctor helped me. And so I just wanted to give them a shout out anytime I can that if you're looking for therapists, if you're looking for someone who understands you, please tap into there if you need to.
for sure.
So, what has been one of the things as you're creating this space that's available 24/7? What's the challenges that you're facing, and what is your big aha moment? Something you've been very proud of that you've been able to complete or you've been able to do?
Yeah, great question. I'd say the biggest challenge is finding the expertise in this domain, right? Because coaching, I'd say more and more every day is becoming popular, right? So finding people who want to do these one-on-one type of webinars or sessions, like, that is plentiful. But when you say AI, like, the room grows still, right? Um, and so my first solve to that in 2023 was, okay, I got to raise $1.5 million to pay folks six figures to take my theory and put it in code, right?
Mhm, mhm,
And for anyone who was raised recently, you know that the markets are very choppy. Like, the cash is drying up. The risk that people are willing to take is drying up, let alone me being a Black woman, right? And we get less than 0.3% of venture capital. So, um, exiting the business day to day, increasing my operational expenses by hiring a bunch of folk who are supposed to keep the business going while I look for capital and the markets are dried up. It was just the perfect storm of, nah, sis, like, what else? Right.
mhm, mhm,
And that's where the aha moment came in. So along that journey of fundraising for, it was probably 6 months that I was full time into fundraising and really stepped outside of Blaze to do so. I talked to at least 75 new folk that, well, I can't do this right now, but talk to this person. And it was those conversations along the way, Dr. Kristian, those angels that really helped me to break my problems down into projects. Because once it's a
mm.
project, I know exactly how to solve it.
Yes,
I know the end date, and I
yes.
moved on to the next, right? So a woman listened to me. Big shout out to Latoya Peterson. She's the co-founder of Glow Up Games. They were funded by Issa Rae. Video games for Black women, super dope. And she said, Casey, because I said, I need somebody to build this bot. This was like August of 2023. And she was like, Casey, stop saying you can't. Stop, because you can. And I don't know what, it's just that belief. She does not know me from childhood.
Mhm,
She did not go
mhm,
through acceleration.
mhm.
She said, yes, you can. I'm listening to you and I can tell that you can.
Oh,
Powerful.
oh.
It wasn't even 4 weeks later, and 4 people that exited the company, chose to exit the company later, that I took myself, in the living room on a Saturday and I said, like, "What if I can?" And I pulled a couple of tools and played around with a couple of concepts that had been in my head that I was gonna articulate to a person for 6 figures per year. And in that sitting, I developed B, what we call B right now, got her inside of the app and got people that next week to start testing it. And I'm just like, if a person hadn't said that to me, right? And she's the one that told me, break your problems into projects, because she said, your vision is so big that it is paralyzing to people, right? You
Mm,
have to just say the one thing that you need, put a time date on it. Stop giving away permanency. I think
mm,
you got to hire
mm.
somebody to stay all year. What is the one
Yes,
thing they can do
yes,
for this
yes.
short date? Let them do it, move on, right? Um, And on the other side of that came this thing that I thought was going to cost me $1.5 million. I'll give a shout out to one more person that I met. I met so many, but another person I met on this journey. This is when the staff was grossed up. I had two co-founders alongside me that I had brought in, and I was about to start the fundraising and have them, kind of run day-to-day operations. And I was like, yeah, I'm raising 1.5 for yada yada yada. And he's like, why? And I'm like, well, we need to build a new app and we need to get the AI in there. I need to hire these people. And he said, why would you build a new app if you already have an app? I'm like, well, I wanted to. And he was like, no, you just need to test the simple thing. Use
Yep.
what you
Yep.
have, which
Yep.
with the expenses you already have, and then you figure out how to get the bot in there. Did it, less people inside of the company, and I literally sat there and just took stuff out of my brain and solved a project problem, not the big vision.
Yes. Yes.
Um, and yeah, I think those two moments were very pivotal, because I think light years ahead of where I was just 6 months ago, where it's no longer a concept, like it's a real thing with real people, real data, and it's just a very different type of command I have, in conversations, et cetera. And I know I don't even need other people's money right now; like I can
Yeah.
literally
I
bootstrap this.
love it. So when let us know if we want to support you, we want to support your vision. How do we do that? Where do we go? What do we download? We want to be a part of your vision.
Thank you, sis. So everybody, please go to blazegroup.io, blazegroup.io, and that is a starting point for just getting to understand what this ethos is about, what this movement is about, what this revolutionary act is, right? Where we're not just giving information. Like I think there are a lot of places for that, but we are decentering whiteness and we are removing microaggressions. We're flattening the learning curve and saying like, what did the freeze cup lady do? How much did she sell it for? What were her input costs? How did she use referral marketing strategy to get the 5-year-old to come back with his cousins? Right? Like that is a completely different
Yeah.
approach
Yes.
to self-guided learning than these constructs we go through. Right? So go there, learn about us. And there are two things you can do immediately to support and to be part of this. So, number one, you can download our app in 176 countries today on about 14,000 different device types because we're on Apple and Android, right? So just download it and experience it, right? Like ask real questions, whether it's what are the most recent trends in my industry, or give me a clever name for this launch I'm about to do. Like, I don't like that. Take away the word hustle, like, but put in the word illness, whatever, right? Like, just start
Comfortable
playing
illness.
around with it, right? And then number two, we have corporate partnership opportunities for institutions that want to um, help accelerate Black women's ability to touch AI and use AI and decrease their costs, right? Without having to stand up your own brick and mortar. So go to
Mm.
blazegroup.io/sponsor, and it talks about our partnerships where you can sponsor 100 seats. You can sponsor 100 subscriptions for real Black women entrepreneurs. You choose the region or you choose the industry. We'll source them. We'll give them all the information about your company and let them know that you really are caping hard for Black women. We'll onboard them, and you can be a part of real change, real meaningful change in the lives of entrepreneurs with your face, your logo, your brand awareness,
Yes.
taking center stage in those types of campaigns.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Currently, what's your size? How many
Yeah.
downloads do you have? How many folks you have in your work?
Yeah, great question. So we have about 900 Black women entrepreneurs that are like inside of this app, use this app, experimenting with AI. We have about 10,000 Black women entrepreneurs and a few allies too that are part of our, I'd say, community base inside of this, where they get our weekly emails, they come to our events, our webinars, they come to our partnership events where we're doing boots on the ground type of happy
Yes,
hours
yes.
and mixers, and we have about 110,000 audience members. We're across our social platforms, Instagram, LinkedIn, Threads, you name it. We have about 110,000 folks that consume our ideologies, and it's just part of our community
I love
that
it.
way.
Yes, yes, yes. I can't wait to connect my Black and green artisans with the beauty of what you're creating. I just
Thank
love
you,
it because
sis.
we have an idea that we're trying to execute. And the one of the things that's so crystal clear to me as I've created Black and Green is we work better together. And so
Yes.
the more that we can work together and partner together, and something I know can be something you know, and something you know can be something someone else knows. And now together we can move further.
I agree. Like I double click everything you said. Retweet, retweet, retweet. Like we deserve to live in the land of plenty.
Yes. Abundance.
Abundance. If we can drive down the street and see Bank of America's right there, Wells Fargo's right there, Chase Bank is right there, and we know at least five more of different brands on that same street, right? And that is a plentiful offering for us to solve whatever problems we have, home ownership, credit cards, whatever. There's no reason why we should think as entrepreneurs we have to solve all of the problems by ourselves. No, 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 no. Give Black women a platter, give her a feast, right?
Mhm,
Like
mhm.
and that was, I'd say, key to the reason why, even though I can do coaching and I do it very well, even though I can do summits and I do them very well, I want to solve a part of the experiential problem of Black women entrepreneurs without repeating what other people need to be doing, right?
Yeah,
How
yes.
can I be the replacement for Google? That is what we are. We are no longer offering cohorts. I'm not even doing a Blaze virtual summit this year, and we just got a
Oh,
webinar.
wow.
I ain't even scared of it. Like, how can I be a replacement for these YouTube videos? How can I be the 3 a.m. solution for her experience and have a response like that? And it feels like Big Mama said it.
Yes, yes.
And then bridge her to all these other, when they say, are you having a summit? Nope, but Avrotech is happening in November. No, but like
Yes,
that's how we should
yes,
move.
yes. Oh, can we just pause there for a minute? That's the beauty. We realize we are not in competition. I'm
Yeah.
not having some of it. There's a lot of something out here that you can still go use. I don't
Yeah.
want to own that space.
No, not
I
at
love it. I
all.
love it. So I think AI is getting more popular these days. Tell me, how does what you're creating compare to Chat GPT?
Yeah, great question. So I would liken it to being the adaptation
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
of AI or Chat GPT, right?
Okay,
So I'll give an
okay.
example. Chat GPT, you can use it for anything. You can say, give me a recipe for this. You can say, read this stock chart and tell me what you see or whatever, right? And the response you get will be pretty cookie cutter because they're not specialized in hip hop culture. They're not
Mm-hmm,
specialized in South
mm-hmm,
Carolina's, language
mm-hmm,
and cultural references or whatever, but they'll give you an answer. Now, that answer is steeped in whiteness. Why? Because that's
mm-hmm,
who programmed it. The examples you get will be steeped in whiteness. It will center
mm-hmm,
whiteness. When it says the average so and so, they're not
mm-hmm,
talking about you because they don't know
mm-hmm,
you that well, right? Because we're
mm-hmm.
not representative in this space yet. We're not building these spaces. We're having conversations right now about the lack of representation on OpenAI's board, right? Like the lack of representation in OpenAI's C-suite. That's who built ChatGPT. And so the best they can do is give a rendering of their experience, right?
Yes,
The
yes.
adaptation of that to reflect Black women's culture and reflect things that we say, like when you stay ready, you don't got to get ready, and reflect the data that Blaze Group sources every year around 73% being moms. And so, what does the mom likely need to know, right? Or around only 4% of folk get grants, crowdfunding, or bank loans, right?
Yep, yep.
So what are the things? What are the alternatives we need to talk to her about, right? It is very similar in that you can ask it anything, but you are more likely to
Mm,
receive information that you get like that. You're more likely to get references for Black products that can
mm,
solve your problems if we can't solve it. You're more likely to get affirmation that reminds you to go slow, not fast, because capitalism is fast, it is efficient, it is perfect,
mhm, mhm,
right?
mhm,
But there's an infinite amount. There is no cap
mhm.
on the
Yeah,
well, and
yeah.
that is what is likened to ChatGPT.
There's also something else you said that I think is also another differentiator. You can go on it and say, "I'm feeling a little depressed,"
Yes,
and come through with a solution. I feel like
yes,
ChatGPT ain't doing that.
yeah,
I feel
nah,
like it's a more personal connection. "Hey,
yeah,
I'm feeling this way," and it can help migrate you through a solution, not help me draft the email.
100%. Thank
Mhm.
you for saying that because
Yep.
we now, while B can do that, you can say, B, like, write an email for me. Like, this ain't what we talking about. Like,
Mhm,
we're talking about relationship. How can we get
mhm.
intimate and close and patient how can she build trust enough to let her know
Yeah.
to let you know that she got you, right?
Yes, yes.
Because what I hope for Black women who use the Blaze Group app is for one that they start playing the long game, right? And they move out of
Mm,
these quick launches
mm,
for to get the burger on the table. Because for real, ain't no knock on going back to the 9 to 5. So you have the stability to start working on your business and start
mm,
working in it. Right?
mhm,
Like this is for the 2 year game plan, right? Like what are the small tweaks what are the things we need to be thinking about? What are the trends in the market that you need to come
mhm,
out of the business and
mhm.
start talking to be about, right? My hope
Yes.
is that we actually help Black women build more sustainable businesses, not your Instagram caption for today, because that will feed you today, maybe, right? But like wrestle with some stuff that's nuanced, right? And maybe
Mm,
ethically, right? Like you don't quite know. Let's talk about the buyout versus holding on to the family business for generations. Like that's where B is playing in the space.
yes, yes, yes. I love that. We're going to pause for meditation. So, wherever you are right now, just take a moment to be. Be in your awareness, be in your truth, be in your wholeness. Allow yourself to show up as light, dark, and every shade of gray in between. Feeling your presence, experiencing your truth. Finding your breath. And instead of directing her, listen to her. Ask her where she wants to spend more time and spend more time there. Ask her where she's stuck and go into the experience of why. Be in this breath, be in this movement, and continue to cultivate this experience through the rest of your day. Honoring that your truth and whatever you show up as is always enough. You are perfection and excellence personified. Anything that tells you that you're anything else no longer serves you. Oh gosh, that's
So
such a
good.
relief. I want to train myself to meditate silently, but I have a hard time meditating. I get lost in my thoughts. So there's a couple of strategies I use for meditating. One, I listen to a guided meditation, so I allow her to kind of guide me through and focus my brain in a way. And another strategy I've been using is a focus meditation, where I would say, Kristian, why are you stuck? And then I meditate on why I'm stuck and what are things I can do to get unstuck. And so I got my brain wrapped around that one thought. And so meditation around a thought has really been powerful for me.
That's so good, and I like how you, I guess, break that problem down into project like that is so
Yeah.
beautiful to say, "I don't need to lead this, like, let me follow, I can do that."
Hmm, hmm, hmm.
And then, yeah, like, let me meditate on this. Let me give myself time and space
Exactly.
to
Exactly.
ponder. Yeah,
So one of my favorite questions is, tell me about your self-care routine. How do you take care of you?
love that. I love that because I am proud of myself for journeying to where I am today.
Mm,
So today, I every single day, probably at least 5 days a week, which is light years from where I was, I'm in the gym. Like I leave the desk, I leave the house, I leave the laptop, I take my water, and I spend at least 30 minutes doing some
okay.
type of physical activity, like 5 days a week, sometimes more. And to what you say around pondering, right? Like it actually me stepping away without making concession and
Mhm,
renegotiating the
mhm.
time, it allows me to ponder whatever I was left lingering with when I was trying to just get it done. my brain keeps chewing on it as I'm doing other things, and I come out with a much better
Right.
solution
Right.
than what I was gonna do. And if the next day I don't have time to implement, I allow myself to just think. Like thinking time, especially for executives, entrepreneurs, leaders, are much more important than the doing. Because
Yes.
actually, once you figure it out, anybody could do it. That's not
Mhm.
the brilliant part, right? It is,
Mhm.
having those times to think. So the gym is a huge part of my self care routine. I actually have a more truncated day than I ever did before,
Mhm.
because now my husband, I got married in October, we're now in the States. He works here in the States. We just got his green card, so we actually got it 14 months earlier than we thought we would, but we love Alabama. Yeah, we love Alabama near my family so much we decided to stay before the green card even happened, right? So in the morning I am cooking him breakfast, literally hot breakfast every morning. I am packing his lunch like every single morning. And that time of just being present, like being still,
Yes.
and getting him from work in the afternoons because he hasn't gotten his US license here yet. So my day is a lot more. I have like 4 hours, honestly, of work time, right? But that is self care because there's nothing strenuous about the cooking. There's nothing strenuous about
Mm.
and committing myself to that and relinquishing the wish that I was grinding during those times and the wish that I could be more productive. It has journeyed me to a place of being nourished for the first time in my life. I've always been like okay and hurdling and rebounding, but I'm so full and moist and like
Yes.
just full, that it is very hard for my cup to run dry these days because it's so insulated with slow pacing,
Mm.
thoughts, exercise,
Yes. Yes.
water,
Yes.
so that's my everyday now, which is very different from where I was 3 years ago. It's taken me years to get to this place of not
Mhm.
resisting
Mhm.
this type of slowness,
Mhm.
but I've not lost anything. I've
Yes.
gained more than I've lost.
Yeah, what you're describing sounds like the gentle life.
Yeah.
Does that resonate with you? Do you feel like you've been
Yeah.
intentional about trying to be more gentle on yourself? In the process of being more gentle on yourself, I found I'm more gentle on those around me. When
Yeah.
I'm hard on myself and I'm beating myself up, I'm swinging. I'm
Yeah.
swinging at myself and I'm swinging at everyone else around me. But
Yeah. That's
when I
right.
stop swinging, everyone gets a softer touch.
That's right. Oh, girl, yes. That is right. And that's the word, Like
Mhm.
I've had to heal my relationship with time.
Yeah. Oh, oh, that's so powerful. Heal my relationship with time. Ooh, wee. 'Cause I think we all think that we have to get everything done so quick and so fast
Right.
and move and move and move and move and move and move and move
That's right.
that we can't just stop and be.
That's right. That's right.
That we can't
You
just stop
know?
and be.
And my compass has been looking outside. Like whenever I feel myself, because you can feel resistance, right? Like some you feel, like I pause and I look outside or I think about nature. I'm like, like how long does it take for a season to change? 4 months? That's a long time. That's like Or I think like when plants do die in the wintertime and they gonna die in the wintertime. Like every single time, it's not gonna change, they're gonna die. They come back, like just put not pushing but like reminding myself to
Mm,
move as nature does because I am
yes,
made of the
yes,
same things. And so if nature knows it's going
yes,
to die and come back,
yes.
if I know that bears hibernate, and like if I surrender to that, if I surrender to that,
Surrender.
I'll be nourished in all
Yes,
seasons. I'll be
yes,
okay. It'll come back. If I got to slow
yes.
down, but that's healing my relationship with time because I was actually
Mhm,
wrestling against nature's
mhm,
way of pacing,
mhm,
right?
mhm.
And it is perfect. It is
Yes,
absolutely perfect. There's nothing to fix in nature, right?
yes, yes,
Yeah,
yes. Ah, you saying that reminds me of something that was really pivotal and life-changing for me, that someone mentioned during your cycle that happens every month. What are you doing? Are you pushing yourself hard or are you stopping to relax? Your body needs you to stop and relax. Are you fighting against that? Or are you going to allow it to happen? So once you said that, you're like, whoa, my goodness.
yeah,
Yes. I want to be more intentional about stopping and relaxing. Being
Yeah,
okay with that and not feeling guilty for stopping and relaxing.
that's right. That's right. Because if we say we came to entrepreneurship for freedom, then we got to start naming what freedom looks like. Saying freedom ain't enough.
Ooh.
We gotta we gotta name it,
Yes,
right?
yes,
So
yes,
what is it that we're bridging ourselves to,
yes,
right? Is
yes,
it the ability to take more naps? Is it the ability to plant gardens and be
yes,
less reliant on industrial agriculture? What, like, we gotta start naming it so
yes,
that we
yes,
settle into,
yes,
right? Because without naming it, we're gonna just take those same
yes, yes.
pacings, those same days, that
Mhm,
same low
mhm,
capacity, and
mhm.
bring, because we really don't know
Yes.
what the things are that we're grabbing. We're just saying a word,
Name
right?
it for you. What is it for you? What's freedom for you?
Yeah. Freedom for me is not trading time for money. Freedom for me is
Mm,
um, planting gardens and eating fruit and vegetables that I've grown. Freedom for me is holding on to Big Mama's house and giving generations a starting point where if you don't want to work today or this year, like there's value in this to tap into. Right? This can be where you draw an equity line of credit to just give you cushion. This can be where
yes,
you stand up a shop and hire three folk from the neighborhood. Freedom.
yes, yes.
Freedom is being able to do nothing for as long as I want to and have enough cushion.
Mm, yes,
Not
yes,
income,
yes.
out like not income, but like cushion.
Cushion, cushion. Something you
Yeah.
said hit me. 'Cause it's a me and my husband are currently having a conversation with how do we want to do, with our children, how we're gonna
Yeah.
do, what you get an allowance. I
Yeah.
said, "How are we gonna do allowance with our kids?" Because we both believe we don't want you to trade money for time. Do I
Yeah.
want you to have to clean your room for an allowance? Do I want you to just naturally get an allowance every week no matter what you do? So we are still wrestling with
Yeah.
how do we? Because what we're both very conscious of and very thoughtful of is we don't want to create in them the same stuff that we're trying to unpack.
That's right.
And so we are trying to wrestle with our relationship between money and
That's
time
right.
in exchange of those. So if I tell you you have to do something with your time to earn money, am
That's
I just
right.
rebuilding that?
That's right. That's right. That's right. Yeah, I love that. And again, that's one of these things that we get to wrestle with. And we need to wrestle
Exactly,
with it to really
exactly,
figure out a solution to a nuanced problem, right?
exactly.
I'm not a mom, right? So it's very interesting to even start pondering on something like that. But I can say where I sit right now and how I am intentionally working to program B
Mhm, mhm.
refresh content inside of the app
Uh-huh,
to
uh-huh.
change people's mind around income and its relationship with time is speaking to what I would call four pillars of generational wealth, right? Because that's what freedom is to me,
Mm.
right? That's what freedom is to me, right? And really, and not just saying I want to get generational wealth, but again, naming it. Like, what
Yes,
what are we
yes,
talking about,
yes.
right? So, one is business equity, right? So,
Okay,
how can
okay.
we get over time our assets to exceed our liabilities? Because at that point, that's cushion, that's
Yes,
value, that is,
yes,
you know.
yes,
Like, and it just how can we grow that over time, over years, over 10 years, 20 or 30 years?
yes,
By the time my
yes,
granddaughter is born, like, you don't even have to worry about marketing like that because
yes,
right? That is
yes.
cushion. That's something to fall on, right? Human capital, right? Which seems counterintuitive to people, but how can I, inside of this business that it has equity, how can I make sure grandmama got shares in my business? How can I make sure mama, got shares in my business? How can I give my son and daughter a job in my business? How can I hire locally
Mhm,
so that I'm
mhm.
circulating dollars in my community so that the payday loans don't seem as attractive? Because we
Yep.
actually got economic
Yes,
mobility around
yes.
here. That's human capital, right? But that's generational. What I just described actually spans four generations and some, right?
Mhm, mhm,
Right? Stock holdings, right? And it doesn't take
mhm,
$1,000 to have a stock. If people like Netflix, like, what does it look like to take $14 and just buy that stock because I like it? And then you see that the quality is going down. So like, I'm gonna sell it and get, like,
mhm.
how do you
Yes, yes,
humanize that, right? That's the third prong, generational wealth, because an
yes,
asset, everything you can sell, right? Like, buying things you can sell is not income. That's things of value that can transcend
yes,
time.
yes,
And then
yes.
the last um prong, what is it? I said home. Oh, home. I didn't say it. Home ownership, right? So, if we hold on to grandmama's house, if we decide 2 years early that, okay, instead of taking all the deductions as an entrepreneur, I'm going to keep my income at a level that qualifies me for the house I want for 2 years because they want to see my tax return. It's just strategy. Not tomorrow, not frustrated because it's not next summer, but
Yeah.
you need 2 years of tax returns. How can I take less deductions to get that whatever,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. So
And then you got
taxes
a
is a strategy.
home
Taxes is a
equity line
strategy.
of credit to draw on. You got collateral if you want another loan. Bump to 20%. Here's my house, right? Whatever. So for kids, right, the earlier they learn it, the better, right? How can they take their allowance and say, well, I like what company? I like Peloton or I like Starbucks, whatever, right? And then let them see how that little thing grows
Mm-hmm.
every month. That's generational wealth,
I love
right?
it. I love it.
I think it's threading those types of things, equity, right? Like you are now a part owner, you have one share. And if you want another share, and like seeing over time, like how you
Where
have
that
2%
goes.
of the company or 4% of the company. I think those are the things that will never leave children and they'll understand what to do with income as
That's
they
so
get older.
beautiful. That is so beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm so happy I did this first one with you on video.
Wow.
Oh gosh, I'm so happy. And
Thank
now I got to get down to
you.
Alabama.
Yeah, we gotta still link up. The link
Yes,
up is
ma'am.
gonna be for everything. But yeah, like we decided I'm not going back to the continent. We'll travel and stuff. We can do that, but
Perfect.
it feels good to be
Yes,
home.
yes, yes.
Man.
Well, I'm from Arkansas, so I need to take
Oh,
my crew to Arkansas. So I
yeah.
definitely will be down there soon.
All right, let me know. I can't wait to see you. And I adore you. Thank you for just always, I mean this, Dr. Christian. Thank you so much for just holding
Yes.
space. Because
Mm,
I always feel so full and seen and affirmed and nurtured in your
mm,
presence.
mm, Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Again, I want to support you any way that I can. So please let me know how I can do that. Thank you for creating this
Yes.
space with me. Thank you
Thank
so much.
you. Thank you.